for me looking at this, but just got to get it corrected and, obviously continue to rehab, do all that. But on the field, we just got to do better.
All right, guys, here's the question. We seeing the end of Baker Mayfield in Cleveland? Is this the beginning of the Yankee?
No, I don't think so at all. He's under contract for another year because of the fifth-year option. I think, though, when you look at where Cleveland was a week ago when playing with Case Keenum and winning that football game, they probably should have stayed with Case Keenum and allowed Baker Mayfield to continue to heal. Sometimes when you insert people into the lineup just because you think they're ready, it takes something away from the rest of the team. That ump factor, whatever that is, that snack, crackle, pop was missing from the Cleveland Browns against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not that Baker Mayfield shouldn't be the starter. It's just that Case Keenum gave them a little bit of a lift, and they probably should have stayed with that until such due time that they really needed to insert Baker Mayfield into the lineup. I don't think they needed to do it against Pittsburgh. They did it, and they came away with a loss. He didn't play great. He didn't play bad, but he didn't give them that extra ump that they were looking for.
I would agree with that. I also think, look, his teammates let him down. I mean, his skill players, you talk about, they dropped at least 6 passes, right? They dropped several in the clutch. They false started twice. Jarvis Landry probably had the worst game of his Cleveland Browns career. I mean, when I see Baker Mayfield out there fighting, like, it was a monumental moment in this game. Fourth quarter, he's trying to get the first down. He runs over, and he gets it, and there's a late hit, and he gets hit right in that left shoulder. Right, all of his teammates run over to him, wondering if he's okay. Fans in the stadium are all quiet. He gets up, rages out, pumps his fist. He just had this team in position to do so. It wasn't his best performance, but damn, I love the guts of Baker Mayfield.
Look, can we see the stats again between Baker and Case Keenum this season? It's interesting to me because Case Keenum played in the one game, right? And Baker has played the rest of the season. But if we can look at the stats, Baker per attempt is... You could see completion percentage is higher. Yards per attempt is significantly higher. But the sack percentage and the off-target percentage is also higher. What that tells me, Key, is Case Keenum, because he hasn't played as much this year, is taking it easy, not doing things to lose the game. Baker, they're maybe a little more aggressive
but
with.
That sample size is
of course,
so small for Case.
Right, for Case, it's very small, and that's why probably it's like that under the same system when they were similar under Stefanski, is because, hey, Case is not his 7th straight game or anything. But it also tells me this Browns team is constructed in a way where maybe the best thing for the quarterback to do is not lose the game. Just guide the offense, not lose the game, and maybe there's pressure on Baker to do more, because if he only does that, we can have Case Keenum do that.
Baker didn't lose the game, though. I mean, they got a first down completion to Jarvis Landry, and that's where he got stripped. And that was the game.
True. That's true. He played better than the result, right, in terms of what he can do. But still, I wonder if there's pressure on him to do more than just guide the offense and not make mistakes, because then we'll be sitting here the next day. Well, for that, you could just get Case Keenum. You don't need Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that's not the issue. The issue is that whenever you have a guy like Baker Mayfield and you're a coach, you start doing things, your play calling changes to a degree. You start calling plays that you think Baker could handle, where in Case Keenum's situation, you don't call those plays. Right. You don't give him those opportunities. So his numbers are going to be different. And that's what happens. What I just said is when you bring somebody else back into the lineup, like a Case Keenum, things change. The way you approach the game changes. The player's mindset change when you go from Baker to Case back to Baker. Had they gone continuously against Pittsburgh with Case Keenum, things would probably have turned out a little bit different because the game plan would have been different. It would have been a little more simple. Therefore, the other players on the team would have lifted up and said, we got to carry Case, opposed to Baker Mayfield and them saying, okay, well, we got Baker. If something goes wrong, we believe in him. You just ride that wave just for enough, a little bit, just enough for Baker Mayfield to get back 100% healthy to a degree. Now, he won't be 100% healthy all year long because of the torn labrum, but at least he feels a lot better than he did in this game coming back against Pittsburgh. If you give him 1, 2, 3 more weeks, who knows what the team would be like.
Well, Key, but if you mention that, then my follow-up is if he's going to have that torn labrum, if he's not going to be really near 100% because of it all year, and you have Case Keenum, who should be the quarterback for the Browns the rest of this season?
Well, it should be Baker Mayfield. There's no question about it. If he's capable of playing, what I'm saying is even though it's not going to be 100%, you still need to let it get better. You don't need to have it all messed up. Let it heal, calm down a little bit. If you can ride the wave against the Pittsburgh Steelers and the next team, then you bring back Baker Mayfield. He's in his fifth-year option. They're going to pay him $20 million regardless, whether he's with the Browns or he's with another team. The commitment is his fifth-year option, which is a big commitment. It's a big year for him to get a long-term extension. I understand all those sort of things. But when you put bad tape out there on the field, they will use that against you in negotiations. They simply can use that game against Pittsburgh, even though a lot of it probably in Jay's mind and his eyes was not his fault. Balls were dropped, true enough. But there also were balls that were late thrown. You got the seam route to Odell Beckham up the seam. He tries a one-handed safety sliding over. If he drills it where he's supposed to, they don't have to worry about those sort of things. But because of the injury, he wasn't able to do that. So you look at it a lot of different ways, and it's just a different situation. And this is the pass that I'm talking about right there. As soon as he hits it, boom, he's wide open in the middle of the field. You hit him on that. Landry should come down with this ball, but it was slightly thrown high and outside with a safety bearing down on him. So when you talk about guys having the opportunity and they don't come up with those catches, yes, but if his shoulder wasn't as in the position it was in, maybe there are handoffs instead of balls that I now got to extend for.
All that's fine, and I hear you, Key, on what you're saying. Here was also my biggest takeaway from watching that game against the Steelers. If I'm OBJ, I can't do it anymore, Key. I can't. I can't have one target, one reception for 6 yards. Like, I need to be more of a focal point of an offense. There are times where it just feels like Baker does not even register the fact that OBJ is on the field. And I understand he has his targets, but that trade deadline coming tomorrow, like, I would ask to go somewhere else.
Yeah, he's
personally, because I'm just not being utilized. And I don't know if I can wait for Baker to figure it out because I keep depreciating. That's how it feels like.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you OBJ in this situation, you can do one or two things. You can go to them and say, hey, look, man, this is not working. I'm not happy. I'm not productive. I can't help us win. I need to move on. Or you can fight through it, and at the end of the year, you can move on in free agency, and now you can pick your team that you want to go to because they're probably going to release him at the end of the year anyway because the salary cap number is so high. And if he has a good year, they're going to have to extend him and pay him, and they're probably not going to want to do that. So the best thing for him to do is tough it out over these next 9-10 weeks, and hopefully they get into the playoffs, extend that playoffs, ball out, put some good tape out there. Now when the free agency comes, you'll be one of the top free agent receivers on the marketplace, and now you get to pick and choose the team that you want to go to, opposed to them trading you somewhere and you're in the same situation. So if I'm OBJ, I sit it out. I wait till the end of the year. Off season comes. Now I can pick my next destination.
And that was Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, brought to you by Wrangler, introducing ATG by Wrangler, all about the greater outdoors, and this apparel doesn't compromise, conform, or call it quits. So when you're heading into the wild, wearing ATG should be second nature. Shop Wrangler.com today. Let me just top off this segment real quick, guys. We got a little under 2 minutes. Mike Tomlin. Listen to these numbers. And the reason I thought Steelers, I believe I picked the Steelers on TV on Friday afternoon. I have to check that because I was going back and forth. But it was purely looking at the schedule, thinking Tomlin is not going to have 4 or 5 wins this year. This is the second or third time I've done this with the Steelers. Not based on X's and O's or players, just like Tomlin is going to find wins in this schedule. He's going to squeeze it out somewhere. That's a winnable game. I'll bet you the Steelers win it. Listen to this record Tomlin has out of byes. 11-4 and won 5 straight after the bye, holding opponents under 20 points in 4 of those 5. 11-4, I think that's including yesterday, out of the bye, and 5 straight. So in other words, it's like a basketball, like out of timeouts, right? Like coaching defense or coaching offensive plays out of timeouts. That's what you're looking for. What kind of adjustments does the guy make? Mike Tomlin, after a loss, his team comes back and almost always wins.
Hey, man, stop talking about our head coach, man.
Why?
That's our head coach, USC.
I know. You know what? He's shown again why he's such a good candidate for the USC job. You know what? Key, you should ask him about that the next time you see him if he wants that job. See what he has to say. It's unbelievable, man. This dude, it's going to be so interesting to me to see if they're above 500 again this year.
They will be because they got a good
be.
defense. When you got a good defense, you can play that way on the offensive side of the ball.
Still be a title contender? There's one person who said last week that they weren't. We'll tell you who that is next on ESPN.